So it was March of 2017, and we were both still pretty fresh to Charlotte. We didn't have a ton of friends, didn't go out a lot, and so we got on Match.com, and it was as soon as I paid for the subscription, I met her that week.
Yeah.
And so I had 6 months wasted down the drain, but we had our first date on March 30th.
At the Cheesecake Factory.
Week after her sister Mel got married.
Yep.
And so now we're getting married.
Tomorrow's the big day.
Yeah.
October 26, 2019.
That's right.
Doors, the music is going to change. We're going to count to like 5. We're ready. Then we'll open the door. 10. Move it just.
So we met in Mrs. Palan's class. That was at Powers, our high school. It would have been 2001, August 2001, at our kind of intro day. And it was, I think, it was our 7th period. I remember that much. And and Deirdre and Aiden, her twin, they were both sitting at one lab table. I was at a different lab table, and I just remember Deirdre being very very cute. And and while it took me maybe 2 years or so to get her to go out with me, I think that the fact that we got to spend all of our classes together for 4 straight years was really a blessing. It was a lot of fun being able to make dumb jokes and Deirdre make fun of me for multiple years.
I don't remember that it was 7th hour Mrs. Palan's class, but I won't forget that now that you said it. I do remember Sally Bartos's English class where we had to read the parts of Beatrice and Benedict in Much Ado About Nothing, and those two characters hate one another at the beginning of it, and by the end they fall in love, and I've always thought of that as our little, I didn't hate you, but I did make fun of you a lot.
I really think what it was on our first date when I wore my ribbed V-neck tee with the leather jacket over top. I really think that's what sealed the deal. So
It was. You nailed it. And we've been married, how many years?
8 years.
8 years. We've been married 8 years
years.
this September.
Give them strength and patience to live. So faith, hope, and love abide, these three. But the greatest of these is love. Marriage is a companionship based on love. It involves mutual commitment and responsibility. You will share alike in the responsibilities and the joys of life. When a husband and wife share a sorrow, the sorrow is cut in half. When you share a joy, the joy is doubled.
We were married April 9th, 2005. So we'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this year.
That's a long time.
That is a long time.
Okay. How old were you when we first met? Do you remember?
You were 21. I was 20 with a fake ID.
So I thought he was older than me because he had a fake ID, but he was actually a little over a year younger than me.
We met
That's how young we were.
at the club at Myrtle Beach at Malibu's. And I want to say Soldier Boy was cranking it at that time, but I'm not quite sure on that. But it was definitely love at first sight. And I think I actually called Emily the first night we met because Sherilyn gave me her home phone number.
That's how long ago it was. That was back when people still used landlines.
And I think it was Emily that answered the phone and said Sherilyn wasn't there. I'm like,
It was all because of you.
So, brothers and sisters of the congregation, since they have made these commitments before God in this assembly, tomorrow, by the authority of God and the laws of the state of North Carolina, I will declare that Ernie and Emily are husband and wife.
We met at ECU because I went to school with Emily,
My sister.
and it was Emily's 21st birthday party. And we knew that this brother, Emily's brother, whom none of us had met, was going to be there. So, we're like, okay, Emily's brother. I was definitely expecting one thing and got quite another. Got quite a shock.
Is that
when
good
I met
or
Blake.
bad?
A good shock when I met Blake Langdon. And I was 21.
I was 24 and just aboard. Went to my sister's birthday party
You didn't want to go.
Well, what else was I gonna do?
You were kind of hesitant to go, but then you went. The
Yeah.
fates pushed you.
It was the fates.
It was. Because I never met, I have a hard time connecting with people, and I connected with this guy, and I was like, what?
Well, I would say that it was love at first sight for me, but the weird thing is I did not get her number when I left that night for, I don't know, whatever reason, and then I had to track her down. That was in the days of AOL Messenger and this and that. Who had that?
Not even
not
Facebook.
Me. No.
So nothing.
Old school way. Chased her down. That sounds bad. And
that's great.
And I sealed the deal.
So our wedding date is, and we have a hard time remembering it. March 27th, 2009. So that was 11 years ago, this past March. That was, married in San Francisco.
Courthouse
wedding. And that was it.
We met online, and we met at Jacob's favorite restaurant, Beef and Bottle. I was 33.
And it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for hurricane.
Yep.
So Katie got back online.
Sheer boredom.
And I was flying back in from up north. And I was 35. And we met at Beef and Bottle on October the 3rd, 2018. And it's been pretty good ever since.
And was it love at first sight?
Yeah, for me.
Yeah. It was comfort at first sight for me. So pretty good.
We're very fortunate this year as we were entering a pandemic and with COVID, but we were able to successfully pull off our wedding on the 20th of March this year. So we've been married almost a little over going on 6 months now, and just for what it's worth, thanks to you guys so much for everything you did for us that week, because it was pretty hectic and very chaotic with everything we had going on, and we really appreciate all you guys did.
Okay, turn around, girls. Look at the camera. How did you meet?
So for me, as you guys know, Geneva, right? Geneva is the one that introduced me to Mel. She started planting some seeds at work here or there, and Mel was having a quarter life crisis.
Oh my God, that's not true. I was visiting a friend.
And decided to come into town. So, Geneva asked me for a few fun places in Gainesville to go to. I told him about a piano bar in Geneva, invited me out to meet Mel. And, I think it was love at first sight, if you gotta ask me. But, this little country girl was definitely stuck on me from second one.
Oh my God.
It was for sure. You got anything to add to it, babe?
Wait, we gotta say how old we were.
Okay, I was 24.
I was 26. And, wait, I didn't say if it was love at first sight. It definitely was love at first sight, because we ended up doing a long distance after that. So
Cool.
It definitely was. Our wedding date is March 25th, 2017. We've been married for 3.5 years. Yeah, it's gone by fast.
It's been fun. 2 kids later.
Thank God for this day, that we're all able to share it together, the happy occasions. Thank God for joining all the families, the Gores and the Fords, to the Joneses and the Reasoners, and just so happy about it. Happy that Ernie and Emily found each other, and we just get emotional. We just prayed quickly out like Emily, and we got her.
So I met Janet in 1979, I'm not sure what month. And my sister Sue was not married yet, but she was going to marry Uncle Mike in 1980. and she'd show up every now and then to go to the fitness center with Janet. But my sister corrupted her, and one night they went to the pizza place instead of going to work out. Then they came over to my house, and I kind of liked her, and so my sister suggested I ask Janet to my sister and Mike's rehearsal wedding dinner. So I did, and then they got married, and then I asked Janet, well, did she want to go to the hockey game with me next week? She said sure, so we ended up dating for 4 years, got married in '84, Talia came along in '85, Michael came along in '89, so I've been married 35 years, and I believe that's about it.
I was a freshman at the University of Michigan. I was on an AOL chat room, which nobody probably knows what they are anymore, for hockey. My screen was Hockey Chick 8287, and I was talking about hockey in the chat room and started talking to, what was your screen name?
I don't know. Was it Jeff and Cord? Jeff and Cord, was that the one?
About hockey a lot for a long time, and got to know each other online, which is before like online dating and all that kind of stuff, because we were talking about a shared interest. Found out we were from sort of the same area.
Yeah, it was at the time when talking to people online was considered creepy. Before, all the, like you said, the online dating. Mm-hmm. And then it just, I don't know, it just kind of worked out though, because we just kept talking about our mutual interests. And the places that we had been, like, probably together hundreds and hundreds of times at the Flint Generals games.
So yeah, Jeff grew up in Flushing, and I grew up in Flint, and then Grand Blanc, so we're probably, 25 miles apart? But
more like 6.
Really?
It's not that far, yeah. It's probably 10 miles apart.
We didn't know each other until we met online, so after talking for probably, a few months, we decided we would go on a date at a Flint Generals hockey game, which we both, of course, met in hockey, so we thought it would be a good first date, and told each other what we'd be wearing in the lobby and where to meet, and he showed up with a present for me.
Yes.
So I got very excited and opened it, and it was a pair of Michigan State gloves. And he thought that was so funny.
I did.
And that's kind of how our relationship has been ever since. Just doing little jokes to kid each other back and forth, the U of M grad getting the Michigan State gloves. We had a very nice first date, and the rest is kind of history. That was in 2003.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2003.
So we're 16 years later.
So yeah, all through college we dated, and I think at some point during that time we knew we were going to get married, and we knew we were going to wait until after she had graduated to kind of be the responsible way to do it, and then
yeah, we got engaged in 2007 when I graduated, and got married in 2009.
Yep.
And here we are, 16 years later, 2 kids.
Yeah.
Hosting Christmas this year, and
10 years married. Yep.
Yeah, it's been a fun ride. Hopefully, many more.
Yeah.
Well, it was summer of 1972.
It was. Yep.
And I worked at a grocery store on the way from Southwestern to her home on Paddington, McKay's Market, Flint, Michigan. And she used to come in every day after school. And what'd you always ask for?
Macaroni salad.
Quarter pound. And of course, being the Don Juan that I am, I always, gave her 2 or 3 pounds of macaroni salad that she absolutely detested and never ate. So I put my first job in jeopardy courting a woman who didn't even appreciate my sacrifice.
And then the way he asked to go on their first date was he wrote a note on my father had gone up there to get a package of lunch meat, bologna, and he wrote a note inside the package of lunch meat to ask me for a date, thinking that I would get the package, but my dad got it.
and he hollered into the living room and he said, "Terry, who's Ernie?" And I said, "He's a guy at the grocery store. Why?" And my dad says, "'Cause he wants to take me on a date." So anyway, that was how we got our first date. We went, met actually. We didn't go on a date together. We actually met at the first Southwestern football game in the fall of 1972. And then the following Saturday, we had our first real date, and we went to the movies to see Butterflies Are Free.
Butterflies Are Free.
And then we went to Luigi's Pizza afterwards. And the rest is history.
The rest is history.
We got married on August the 22nd, 1975.
We got married on August the 30th.
August the 30th. I can't believe I messed that up.
See? Now, for posterity, remember who got the anniversary right. Yeah, my birthday is the 22nd, and we got married on the 30th.
August the
1975.
1975. 4 o'clock in the afternoon at St. John Vianney.
And I was late.
And he was late. Because his tuxedo didn't fit. And we've been married 44
years ever since.
How old were we when we met?
19, I think.
Yeah, 19 or 20. It was the spring of our sophomore year.
97, I think, or 96. 96 or 97.
So yeah, we would have been 19.
Yeah.
We were sophomores in college, and we didn't go to the same college. We were actually pioneers in the online dating movement.
Yeah, I think what was date.com or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even make my own profile. My roommate did. And then I got all these really bizarre responses, and there was one from a pretty nice guy.
I think I sent digital flowers.
Yes, yeah. You used to do this thing where all you would do is like basically send clip art to each other. And yeah, he wasn't a creep, so I wanted to let him down easy, and he grew on me like a fungus. I couldn't get rid
it was
of
a
it.
creep, and it was a creep. You just didn't realize it was a creep till 20 years in.
We got married October 6th of 2001, just a month after September 11th.
Yep.
It rained the day we got married, and my best friend Dina, who was in our wedding party, she was Greek, and she took it a lot harder than I did, but she kept saying, "Oh, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. The Greeks consider it a blessing for it to rain on your wedding day because the angels are so happy they're crying." But yeah, it was cold and rainy and just kind of a gray day.
Yes, and when we got married, we had to take a limo back to Cleveland, and the limo didn't have any heat that worked in the back. So it was freezing cold, and I don't, there were two things that I remember about the limo. Do you know what two things I remember about the limo?
I know what you're going to say.
Yes. What am I going to say?
You're going to say the TV didn't work, and it was freezing cold because the heater didn't work, and you stepped in the dog poop.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything about the freezing cold, but was it I who stepped in dog poop?
Yeah, it was you.
Oh, yeah. It had a powerful smell of dog poop. We had to stop at a gas station to try and clean it up. Yeah. But I was going to say your contact lens.
Oh, that's right. That was, his boutonniere caught me as we were climbing in the limo to leave the church, and it scratched the contact lens out of my eye. And couldn't find it. And of course, we're leaving for our honeymoon at like 6 in the next morning. And you found it, didn't you?
Yeah, I found it in the limousine, in the back of the limousine, using like a little flashlight.
Yeah, so the day was saved.
I saved the day.
Remember distinctly. It was in 1967, and he had just graduated from high school and moved to GMI. And I was in an alley with my girlfriend, Donna Reed. The alley was behind a GMI fraternity house. And Donna and I were walking into one of the houses, and Nels and some friends came out. And that's how we met. Now he is going to say he picked me up in an alley. See? Because that's what he always says. Go ahead.
Well, that was my whole punchline, but anyway, it was, you know, the end of summer, beginning of the school year. I had been at GMI in Flint for only 2 weeks. I met a girl the first week, that just didn't work out. So the second week, I got lucky and met Kathy in the alley by the dumpster, and her and her friend were going to a fraternity party. I was house guesting at one of the other fraternities, so I don't remember if I had a friend or not, but I intercepted them and at least got Kathy to come with me. I don't remember if the other girl went her separate way or not, but we chit-chatted. I offered her iced tea, which she said yes, but turns out later she didn't really like iced tea at all, so I don't know what that means, but it was interesting. I like the fact she had a car because I did not, and so as far as I remember, I got her phone number and proceeded to call her and started dating my future wife after only 2 weeks in the wild, and it seems to have worked out just fine.
Our first date was to a movie.
That's what I would have guessed too, because movies were the popular thing to do.
I had just taken a job in Chicago. It was February of 1999. I remember it was after Valentine's Day because there was no Valentine's Day drama, so sometime between Valentine's and the end of February. And I had been on the road for about 4 years. I just traveling as a consultant. I'd been in New York City. I was staying at my friend Dan's house, which was down the street about 3 blocks from this local artistic bar. They had poetry readings and they sold artwork, and it was pretty trendy, velvet couch kind of place. But I didn't want to go out, and Dan kind of drugged me out and said, "No, it's your first weekend in Chicago. We're going out." And I was staying at his place until I found a place, so I was like, okay, I guess I have to go out. And I was kind of just being bored and sitting drinking my drink as my friends went over and approached these 2 very attractive ladies at a table next to us, not too far from where we were. And I sat there and my friends approached them. I'm not sure what they said, but they...
Yeah, and so it was a similar thing, you know, in retrospect. It seems very cosmic because he didn't want to be there, I didn't want to be there. He had been traveling nonstop and was tired. I had been traveling nonstop and was tired. I was a consultant at the time, going back and forth between here and Cleveland. And so even the bar itself was in an area that my friend Carrie and I would never normally go to, so I think we must have heard something about the you know, opening or the art stuff or whatever, who knows, but we were there as well, and I was kind of the same way, not really, you know, wishing I was just back home and sleep because I was exhausted. And his friends came over, and I had seen him, and I'd seen that he was with the same group of guys and that he didn't come over. And so they were talking to us, trying to be all suave or whatever. And I was like, well, what about that guy? Like, what's his deal? Why is he still on the couch? So they then called him over. And, you know, I think right away we were able to piece together that we both traveled a lot and we're always on the road and both tired, both not wanting to be there. And I think we talked for a while.
Talked till the bar closed.
After that, yeah.
And then I had wanted to, I'd kind of got my second wind at that point, and since I was talking to Erica, and I said, hey, we're going to go to another place, you know, do you want to go to this place called Catacombs? It's an after hours bar.
And that's when she said no, so I thought, oh, that's a subtle hint that she wasn't enjoying the conversation as much as I was.
But to me, I'm just not a late night person. My parents are. I did not get those genes. I had not wanted to be, out. I was really exhausted. And to me, not going on to the next bar until God knows how long in the morning wasn't a diss or whatever. It was just, I had asked for his email address and his number with every intention of, still getting in touch with him the next day, which I did. Yeah. And I still have the email to this day, because one of the things we had talked about, somehow this bar was playing like really random music, and we had gotten to talking about like what we each liked, and found out we had nothing in common as far as that goes, because I liked musical taste. No, like I liked all the top 40 pop, at that point it was NSYNC, Britney Spears, and he liked all these bands nobody had ever heard of. And so when I emailed him the next day, the subject line was "Welcome to the NSYNC fan club," which I still have that email to this day. And then I think we did end up, going out again shortly thereafter.
Yeah, we went to we went to a restaurant, which is right around the corner from where we live now, which is now a sushi place. At that point, I think it was a Thai place. And then we went to a double feature movie at the Broom View, which weren't great movies.
Yeah, it was an awful combination of Patch Adams, like a sad drama based on a true story, and then American History X, also a true story about like a Nazi. It's just a very violent movie, and so we walked out of there like that was not date material type of thing. But yeah, we continued.
Yeah, continued to date, and we then got married in June 28th of 2003, and we have been married 17 years. This year is 2020, and we have 2 great kids, and couldn't be happier.
Yep.
Technically 2000, yeah. But we didn't go out on our first date until 2001. And we had a class together at the University of Michigan. It was Anthro 330, Cultural Anthropology. Yeah. And we had a big lecture hall, as is usually the case at U of M. And then we also had a small group that met on a different day, and we were in both of those together.
That's right, yeah.
And so when we were in the lecture hall, Nick would always sit in one seat, and I would always sit in one seat. And I saw him there and was just like, there's something about this guy. I just really feel like we need to know each other. And all of my friends knew about this. It was like constant conversation. We talked much more about Nick than we talked about anthropology. And it was like, he's got on a new sweater today. Oh, what's he doing? He's not here today. And so unbeknownst to Nick, all of this was happening. And so finally, I asked him to study with me, and he invited me to a group of people to study.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad.
And then I asked him if he wanted to go out, and you said you were going on some trip, but you would call me when you got back, which you did, but it was like several weeks later. So it all came together, and then we went to dinner. Mm-hmm. And where did we go to dinner?
We went to Polio, a restaurant in downtown Ann Arbor, a nicer restaurant, so I spared no expense. And yeah, I remember, can kind of visualize that, sitting at the table and everything, and what we talked about and whatnot. And that was back in 2001, probably January of 2001. Then we ended up getting married on campus there nearby 8 years later in 2009. And now have been married for 10 years. We're filming this in October of 2019, so celebrated our 10th wedding anniversary recently. Yep. And yeah, time has flown by. Getting back to the restaurant, we now have daughter Charlotte, as you know, and she said, where'd you guys meet? What'd you do? We gave her the story, talked about polio, and then she said, isn't that a leg disease? Because she's aware of polio from famous people and other things of that nature. So we thought that was quite funny, and got a kick out of that.
How did we meet?
We met. I was out to the bar. It was a packed night. I was sitting there drinking Coke. Nobody believed that. This girl and her friend came in and needed a place to sit while I was dancing. They
With somebody else?
borrowed my seat. Was it love at first sight? No, but it was love at first night. Yeah, we ended up talking and spending the entire night together.
It's not what you think.
It was not sexual. I spent the entire night with her. I had to beg her for a kiss.
So, okay, let me tell you. We went to all-night roller skating. So that's how we spent the night together. We went to all-night roller skating. And then I invited him over to my house. And he sat in his chair. And I sat in my chair. We were across from each other. And that was this house, right? Yeah. And he said to me, and this is adorable, "I'm gonna die if I don't kiss you." Oh, that's good. That's good. And
I got her hook, line, and sinker.
What?
How old were you?
Oh, we were.
I was 24.
And I was 23.
She was 23.
Yeah, something like that.
And we were married 6 months and 1 day later.
Are we still going?
That's it, baby.
Okay.
Now we met on September 6th,
That's right.
1980.
Yeah.
And we were married on March 7th, 1981, 6 months and 1 day later.
Yes, and Piker. Let's just tell the story about Piker.
Well, I
story.
had a date for Michael and Sue's wedding, and I got a different
Which was
date,
September 20th.
which was this Sue for the rehearsal dinner, and then the day of the wedding, Michael and I had a talk, and he said, "You need to take care of it. There's somebody special in your life. Maybe you should go that way." And I called my date up and canceled and called Sue, and she agreed to come to the wedding with me, and we've been together ever since.
So we've been married. We'll just continue this because I know what the question is. We've been married. We'll be married 40 years on March 7th, coming up March 7th.
Hope and love abide, these three. But the greatest of these is love.
We met when I was 6 and Bill was 8.
Yep. Your dad came over for some pickles from my mom and dad's garden.
Yep.
Your mom and dad wanted to can some pickles.
And you gave me a ride on your tractor.
Yeah, I did.
And we didn't really remember meeting back then because we didn't actually become boyfriend and girlfriend for 6 years later. But so there wasn't love at first sight on that day.
I don't know. I was in the back of the truck when I drove by.
But that was 6 years later.
Yeah, but that's where we're at, right? 6 years later?
6 years later, we met up again. And our parents had cabins side by side. And he always talks about seeing me in a black leotard with black pants, which I don't remember.
I do.
But he remembers he had to have this. And I do think it was love at first sight then. Although I have to say, back then I used to think about whether I wanted Gary or Dale. But it definitely was Dale. It was love at first sight, and that was when I was 12 and he was 14.
It's valuable.
We got married May 27th, 1977, because we had a 3-day weekend.
74.
Because you what? Oh,
we had a
3-day
three-day
weekend?
weekend. Okay. Wait, did you just put that in there? And how long we been married?
43 tremendous years.
Say it without laughing.
The wedding ring is an important symbol of marriage in at least two ways. First of all, gold and its purity symbolize the purity of your love for one another. And the unending circle symbolizes the unending vows which you are taking today, which may be broken honorably in the sight of God only by death. As a token of your vows, you will give and receive the ring. Ernie, would you place the ring on her finger, please, and repeat after me. Emily, with this ring, I pledge my life and love to you. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Emily, would you place the ring on Ernie's finger, please? And repeat after me. Ernie, with this ring, I pledge my love and life to you. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. I ask both of you to repeat after me in unison. Entreat me not to leave you, or to return from following you. For where you go, I will go. And where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people. And your God, my God.
All right, well, we met in the back seat of a 55 Chevy
So this is why I had to correct him.
about 68 years ago.
Okay, so I'll tell the real story. We met, I don't remember when we met because it was before 15 and 16, but
It was
when we
definitely
met
in a ditch.
and it clicked was Gary was 14, a month away from his 15th birthday, and I was 16. So we were a year and 4 months apart. We met up north. Our parents had cottages next to each other. And no, for me, it was not love at first sight. I thought he was the nicest guy I had ever met. And as I got to know him, I thought so. But it took me a while to fall in love with him.
That meant I was 14 if
Yeah.
you were 16, right? Which
Yeah.
meant you were 18, I was 16, right? So, yeah, no wonder it wasn't
Okay.
love at first sight. I was in grade school, for Christ's sakes, when she was graduating. I mean, what do you expect?
Okay.
So you guys, so love at first sight? No, it wasn't love at first sight. Gary, was it love at first sight with you?
Oh, absolutely. It's strictly physical back then in those days. Yeah, absolutely love at first sight.
You know our wedding date?
Yeah, thank God I knew that. It was used to be the, what was it, the 20-something, but it's August 17th, 1974, back when air was clean and sex was dirty.
Wait, what?
Well, what? So we've been married 46 years. And yes, it takes a lot of patience.
Dear friends, since they have made these commitments this afternoon before God and this assembly, by the authority of God and the laws of the state of North Carolina, I declare that Ernie and Emily are husband and wife. Ernie and Emily, you are no longer two independent persons, but one. What therefore God has joined together, let no one separate. You may kiss your bride.
Now I gotta remember, I gotta think back which girlfriend I'm talking about.
So when did you end up married?
We were in 8th grade home ec class. 8th grade?
7th grade.
7th grade.
Holy
home ec-
cow.
7th grade home ec class.
And I looked over and I thought he was just so cute. And the gal next to me, Lynette, she said, who? And I said, that guy right there, you know, blonde. And he had blonde hair then. And
hair then.
yeah. And she said, Piker Jones. And I thought, well, no, I think his name's Mike. But anyway, so she knew him from elementary school. And I just thought he was so cute. And I do think it was love at first sight. I just thought he was so cute and friendly and happy to everybody. So anyway, she had told me, she said, oh yeah, I know him. I said, do you know him? And she said, yeah, I know him. She said, he goes to the dances every week. And I thought, well, I didn't like that because I wasn't, you know, I thought, oh, this guy's
moving on from one girl to the other every week. So that kind of scared me from approaching him and going with him. So I don't think.
Everyone's seen you dance before, so they know you didn't go to the dances.
So anyway, so that made me a little bit nervous, and but I did really like him, and we had a home ec together, and he was showing all the guys how to make hot chocolate. He was the leader, and then we had, after home ec class, we had sewing class, and he came up. Oh, that's what it was. That was the big flirt. Is he came up when I was sewing, and he wanted to know if he could show me how to put in my bobbin. And I thought, okay, this guy's definitely flirting with me. And so I think I actually helped him make his apron too in home ec class. And so, but that was how long. And so we got married September 20th, 1980.
I was 19 and she was 20. Yeah. Well, the first date was supposed to be at the end of 7th grade when I asked her to go to a party with me at a friend's house. And that she thought I was too wild.
No, he called. Yeah, he called on the phone.
Yeah, I asked her to go, and she lied to me and said she couldn't go. But she was just afraid of at that party.
Because I was still nervous because Lynette had told me that he was kind of fast. She didn't say.
But not fast about me.
She didn't say he was fast. She just said, "Oh yeah, he goes to all the dances." And anyway, I was a little bit nervous, so he called, and I told him no. And that was the end of 7th grade.
End of 7th grade.
Yeah. So anyway, in 8th grade then, it was near the end of school, and it was like the beginning of June. And he had asked me to come to his home room, room 202, Mr. Wolf's room, and to sign his yearbook. And so I showed up to sign his yearbook, and he said he forgot his yearbook. So to come back the next day and sign his yearbook. So I came back the next morning, and he said, well, I forgot it again today. So at that point I knew he was just trying to get me to come back and see him. And so I was on to him. So,
you were a stalker.
So I came back on the 3rd day, and he said, well, come tomorrow to my baseball game. And he said, you can sign my yearbook there, you know. So he told me where his baseball game was and stuff. Of course, this was like the last day of school. So the next day I showed up for his baseball game, and that was at McKinley Junior High, and it was on the fields there. And during, it must have been between innings or whatever, he saw me sitting on the bleachers, and so he came up and gave me a quarter, a dime, or however much it wasn't much, and asked would I go across the store
7-Eleven
to 7-Eleven and buy him some cherry Jolly Rancher candy. So I ran across and got him, you know, a handful of these little cherry hard candies is what they were. And then they also sold the long Jolly Rancher stick, cherry stick. So I got that for him just so it'd be something special for him. And I ran back across the street, and then between innings again, he came up and I handed him the candy, and I told him that the long stick was for him. And so anyway, the game ended, and he walked me home, you know, to my house on Blueberry. And then all summer long, that, you know, every day he'd walk over and come visit me during the summer, and that was the start of it all. He always come to visit me, and of course we were too young, you know. We were how old?
13 I was, and you was 14.
13 and 14. I was bigger than him.
She was.
He was kind of a runt. And so we were young, so it wasn't your typical date where you had a car and money and could go out somewhere. So so he would just come over and visit at my house, and that's what we did.
Yep.
I actually received a piece of advice recently that I thought was very good, which is that your relationship has phases. And the relationship that you have now, it won't necessarily be the relationship that you have in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. And there is good and bad that comes with all of those phases, but it's kind of fun and exciting to reinvent your relationship over time. And I guess, you know, the fact that you have a strong relationship to start out it makes it that you can kind of constantly reinvent yourself.
I feel like everybody always says this, but I do think there's something to be said for don't go to bed mad. Even if you don't make up with somebody, don't go to bed mad. It's not worth it. And it's always going to feel better in the morning. Everything's always going to be okay in the morning.
y'all gotta have fun. Make sure to make time for each other and for yourselves, and do that, you know, a couple times at least a year. And just go out and have a good time. Enjoy each other's company. Stick together. Things are gonna be up, things are gonna be down, but there's always up around the corner. And you have anything, Sherilyn?
Just, forgiveness and grace, and, know that we all, have little blunders every now and then, and do, make simple mistakes every now and then, and just always show grace and forgiveness, and just kind of go with the flow sometimes.
I would say that the biggest thing is just to be nice and polite to each other, because you wouldn't believe of a day how many people I'm out there seeing scream at each other and this and that, and it's just kind of gross. But we try to be polite to each other, and we're like best friends.
I will add to that, the best wedding advice that we got when we were getting married was someone just simply wrote on a card or something. They said, always be polite and always be a lover. So yeah, be nice, and then the second part, always be a lover. Do with that what you will. I think you know what I mean. So that would be my advice to you guys.
Wow.
Well, Emily and Ernie would probably have more advice for us.
That's what I was going to say.
Because they've been married a little bit longer.
Twice as long.
But I would say you're on the same team. You are a team. And that's the biggest thing that I've learned so far.
And I couldn't second that more, other than don't go to bed angry.
Oh yeah, he always says that. Sometimes it doesn't work.
Always openly communicate, right? Don't keep things from each other. Never go to bed mad. I think it's just really lots of good communication and time together where you can, even though, like right now it's tough for us, right, with 2 kids, but I think it's important to find time together. And I also don't think there's anything wrong with having your own hobbies, some together, some, that you do on your own as well. I think that's important to keep doing things that you like and you enjoy.
Yeah, I would say just kind of going off that, always make time for each other, because right now we have no time for each other, but we try to make time for each other. Yeah. Since we have 2 little kids, we're busy chasing them all day, but even if it's just watching a movie at night or something like that, try and always date your spouse. Even though you're married, you should still try and date them.
Never stop being a dating couple. Don't take anything for granted. Always have fun times, dates, something like that.
I would say do all the things that you still think are fun. Just go out, have a great time. Don't worry about all the small stuff with being married and things like that. A lot of it works itself out. Have fun, before you have kids.
That's terrible.
If you're gonna have kids, it becomes a lot harder to do the fun things together. You do fun things with your kids at that point, but it's harder to find the alone time that you want with your life or your husband.
Yeah, I would say fights will happen. They happen to everybody. You think everyone's marriage is perfect, and it's not. Fights are okay. Just don't go to bed mad. Try and make up before you go to sleep. And do fun stuff together always.
On that note, tell Emily not to pick fights with you right before bedtime. Okay, that's very important.
A sense of humor. Laugh at everything.
Yep.
Laughter is the best medicine.
Yep. Always be honest. Let your feelings come out, but never go to bed mad. Never go to bed angry. Get it all out. Get it all out in the open. Be upfront and honest, no matter how angry you are, or how bad your feelings are hurt, or how much it hurts to say you're sorry or you're wrong. Get it over before you go to bed.
You may stay up a lot.
Well, because you got to remember, she knows where you sleep, Ern. So don't let her go to bed angry.
What advice do you have for them? I'm at a loss.
Yeah, I don't know. After 19 years I don't know, you just get up every morning and you
Yeah.
do it one more time. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, you do. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, you should do it one more time. Yeah.
I think it was Phyllis Diller who said, never go to bed angry. You should stay up and fight. And I think we've kind of lived by that.
Yeah. I guess that's a reasonable one. Yeah. All right. I think that's it. All right.
You just have to hang in there. There are wonderful times, really, really wonderful times where you just love each other and everything goes right. And then there are other times when it gets a little rough. And I think the main thing is you have to remember your wedding vows. It's in sickness and in health, till death do us part. And it isn't always easy, but it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it.
Premarital counseling we had, there was somebody said something about don't go to bed angry, or there was something to that effect, which it turns out it's kind of hard to do sometimes, but it was good advice.
His grandmother said that. Grandma Hagberg said that to us on our wedding day. She said, never go to bed angry. And that's true. And if you do that, then you feel bad because, it's just not a good thing.
I think one of the most special things that I love about our marriage is that we obviously have things that we love to do together and things we have in common. We both love movies, we both love to travel, but at the same time we have made a very specific point of keeping our own identities and continuing to do things with our own groups of friends, going so far as to take vacations separately with our friends. And I think that is something that is important to me to show our kids as well, like that you're not just a mommy or daddy or a husband or wife, like you're still a person, you alone, and you can still have your friends and do your things. I think that it's important to show both girls and boys that, and so that's something that I've just been really proud of.
You live your life, whether it's 20 years, 25 years, 30 years before you get married, and you are your own person, and you come together, and together as a couple, you have someone that you can rely on and that you have strength in that, but you can't expect to merge into the same person. It's like what attracted you in the first place was the fact that you were unique individuals, so I think that's extremely important.
Yeah.
Never go to bed angry, so that means have your fights early in the day.
I don't think that's what I said.
That's not, well, that's how I interpreted it, but it's it does make sense in the sense that any fights you're going to have are going to be stupid. They're going to be because somebody's in a bad mood or had a bad day at work or whatever, and it's not worth it. So don't go to bed angry. Just make sure you talk through things.
I think the advice that I would give is to remember that there's a difference between love and marriage. So I love you and I've loved you for 20 years.
Yes.
And we'll love you forever. But that's very different than being married, which is sort of this partnership together. And you have to kind of think about how do you want to move through that partnership, and how are you going to deal with conflict, and how are you going to deal with all the good things and bad things, and when you have kids, and how are you going to parent them, and how are you going to kind of divide the work between your house and things like that. And so I think kind of just remembering that those are two different things, and to remember all the things you love about the person as you're figuring out the partnership part. And so, for example, I feel like everyone would agree that I'm the more adventurous one of the two of us.
True.
And because you love me, you went on a camel trek in Morocco, and much to your discomfort.
And spent the night. We gotta give the details. Spent the night, Sahara Desert, lizards crawling up my shorts, whatever. So I did it, okay?
You did it because you love me.
Yep.
But in contrast, when I wanted to go to the jungles of Rwanda and go visit silverback gorillas by myself, and you said, I'm not really sure that I think that's a good idea, I didn't go.
Yes.
Because we make these decisions together,
True.
and I love you, and I value your opinion, and so just the difference between love and marriage, and hopefully it all works itself out in the end, where you're able to kind of really sort of celebrate those things that make you each different about each other and why you love each other, and the things that are the same kind of help you work through a lot of that decision making as to how you're going to have your marriage function. So.
secret to a good marriage, in my opinion, is lots of humor, because I love laughter and just
Yes.
he's so cute when he's funny.
Be able to
He's so
laugh
cute.
at each other and yourself.
Yes. And
be able to talk to each other and laugh.
Yep.
It's important.
Cheers. Cheers.
Drink a lot of beer.
What would I say? Sense of humor. Sense of humor is your greatest gift. And patience.
Learn the art of that.
Tons of patience. And we're still trying to figure that out. We think we're going to make it. That's all we got.
Wow.
And your marriage advice.
If you just do what you're told, and you'll be just fine.
I like that.
Right.
He doesn't, but I like that. This triggers my serious side, so I am struggling with marriage advice. But the one that actually does occur to me that I could say in a snippet is to let each other be exactly who you are and to blow wind in the sails of that. So that's it.
Yeah, and
That's beautiful.
that's some expensive advice. I just want you to know that right now.
Expensive?
Oh yeah.
Oh, letting you
Very
be who you are? Yes, very expensive.
Okay.
I would say that a lot of people talk about, they'll ask, what is the secret to a happy marriage? And I think a happy marriage to me means one that has stuck it out and stayed together. And I know there's instances where divorce happens, and I get that. But I think when you're a couple and you decide to get married, I think so often some couples just don't take it serious enough. And I think you really need to think out that this is for a lifetime. And so pick a mate that you're compatible with and that you love, and they're the kind of person you want to share your life with. And think long and hard about that, because a lifetime is a long time. But when you decide to get married, it's a commitment that you've made to each other. And if you have children, you've made that commitment to your children. And that's so important. And a happy marriage sometimes has days of unhappiness, because that's just part of life's journey. Every day isn't happy. Every day isn't 100% smiles and joking and that's what makes a marriage good and solid, is going through all that and going through heartaches with each other and going through all the good and happy times too, and I think that just makes a good marriage.
Well, I think the biggest thing to remember is when you're dating, you spend all your time trying to make that person happy. When you're going on dates, you're always doing everything, the special little things and stuff. And when you get married, life becomes, I got to go to work, I've got to pay the bills. And you just got to remember it's not all about the money, and it's not all about that. And so when you go through hard times, it's usually because you're focusing on the wrong things. Right. And if you go back and just think about the person you love and do the little things that might make them laugh. I mean, laughter in life is probably, I think, one of the most important things. Yeah. And so if you think back, you're probably spending too much time at work or working trying to get the money, and you just always look back at why you fell in love, and that, because that person hasn't changed, they're still there.
That's right.
And I think that's an important thing.
Right, and we have a lot of humor in our marriage, and I think humor is important, and because it takes the edge off things sometimes. Even in serious situations, humor is good. It lightens things up, and you hear the phrase, the grass is greener on the other side, or some people think the grass is greener on the other side. People that leave their loved ones for someone else, and I think I always think of it as, your own grass can be greener, but you have to tend to it and you have to take care of it. And if you're not taking care of your own grass, somebody else's grass is going to look greener. But focus on what you have and taking care of what you have and nurturing it and giving it the attention and love that it deserves. And as far as your relationship, like Mike said, how did you treat the relationship in the beginning? And the attention you gave it and stuff. And so it's just, sometimes you get caught up in life and you forget to give what's important the attention it needs.
If the grass is greener on the other side, if you go on the other side and look back, the grass is greener on your side.
Yeah, right. So I guess that's the advice we have.
Sure.
Hey, Emily and Ernie, happy anniversary. It's almost been a year now. Hope you have a whole bunch more of them.
Happy anniversary, Emily and Ernie. It's been a great year. Y'all got this. Y'all just keep going strong.
All right, well, happy anniversary.
Happy
love y'all.
anniversary. We love you guys.
Love y'all. Happy anniversary again. We miss you.
Love y'all.
Bye.
Happy anniversary, guys.
Happy anniversary.
Love you.
Happy anniversary. Love you.
I was 24 years old when I met the woman I would call my own. 22 grandkids now growing old. In the house did your brother board you? On the summer day when I proposed, I made that wedding in dentist gold. And I asked her father, but her daddy said no. You can't marry my daughter. She and I went on the run. Don't care about religion. I'm gonna marry the woman I love down by the Wexford border. She was Nancy Mulligan, I was William Sheeran. She took my name and then we were one down by the Wexford border. Well, I met her at Guy's in the Second World War, and she was working on a soldier's ward. Never had I seen such beauty before. The moment that I saw her, Nancy was my yellow rose, and we got married wearing borrowed clothes. We got 8 children now growing old, 5 sons and 3 daughters. She and I went on the run, don't care about religion. I'm gonna marry the woman I love down by the Wexford border. She was Nancy Mulligan, I was William Sheeran. She took my name and then we were one down by the Wexford border. White streak and a jet black hair with 60 years I've been loving her. Now we're sat by the fire in our old armchairs. You know, Nancy, I adore you. From a farm boy born near Belfast town, I never worry about the king and crown, 'cause I found my heart up on the southern ground. There's no difference, I assure you. She and I went on the run, don't care about religion. I'm gonna marry the woman I love down by the Wexford border. She was Nancy Mulligan, I was William Sheeran. She took my name and then we were one down by the Wexford border.
Hey, folks, a big round of applause. And that was awesome, folks. I'm going to give you a little bit of background. They actually started practicing September 20th, less than a month ago. They killed it. And we were wondering, Ernie, how we were going to get that song to work.